I am very boring. I eat the same 5 meals on repeat, and I'm not super disciplined. I honestly just can't be bothered making food decisions every single day, and I need to make the healthy choice the easier choice. I think that this is what gets missed in a lot of fat loss advice. People will give you like 40 different recipes, a whole meal plan, a big shopping list, and then wondering why you're sort of just falling back on your old habits by Wednesday. Really, you don't need 40 recipes. You just need a handful of meals that you actually like enough to eat again and again. And I've got 5 that got me through losing over 15 kilos. I still eat them now, and they're not boring either. There is a burger, there is a cheesecake, and they all follow the same sort of simple formula that you can use to create hundreds of your own meals. Also, I do get sick of these meals sometimes. I'll eat something for 4 weeks and then I'll get the ick and I'll never want to eat it again and I'll rotate. That's normal. Consistency doesn't mean eating the same thing forever, but I do keep going back to these ones, which proves that they are worth talking about. And recipes for all 5 are linked below if you want them. So firstly, let me just talk about this formula. Every meal is built on the same thing: protein, a real fat, fiber from vegetables, and carbs, either complex or sometimes barely there. We've got 1 to 2 palms of protein. We've got a thumb or 2 of real fat. Vegetables, don't measure the vegetables. And then carbs is roughly like a small cupped handful. These are really sort of key portion measurements that I was taught in my nutrition qualification, and I find them easy to use anywhere because no one's going to carry a scale with them. You're on a cruise ship, right? And you're like just at the buffet, you can easily say, okay, well, that's about a palm size, that's about a, cupped handful. It's very easy to measure them. And these are the same measurements that I also use in my metabolic method. So they are sort of adjusted for each meal, and each week progresses as my clients go through. So some meals it might be 1 palm. I might indicate 2 palms, 3 palms of protein. Today we've got 2 cupped handfuls of carbs. In this one, we've only got 1. It does adjust as it goes through. It's very clear on that. So that combination is going to really work because protein and fat are actually what is going to keep you full, not just. So this combinations work really well. We've got the protein, the fat, the carbs, the fiber. You can do a bit more volume eating with this as well, depending on what you're eating. And then you stay full for hours, which is so helpful when you're in a calorie deficit. And that's the whole reason why you're not going to be raiding the pantry at 3 p.m. because you have eaten enough. Then we've also got insulin. So a lot of these recipes are going to keep that insulin a lot lower. I know because I have worn a continuous glucose monitor, which has helped me see the impact that these foods have had on my body. And that means that your body is just going to, have the easier time switching to burning fat rather than just relying on glucose. And we want that because if we want to lose weight, we want to make it easier for the body to burn fat instead of just relying on our previous meal that we've eaten. So, an example of that is that, if you have a carb heavy dinner, your body is going to be spending a huge chunk of the night dealing with the fact that you have eaten a lot of sugar. It's got a lot to work through. Whereas if you have a carb heavy breakfast, your body is going to be like, great, thank you, because we've got a whole day ahead of us and we really need this energy. I sort of adjust things depending on if it's, breakfast or dinner or what point of the day I'm at and where I'm training as well. We want a dinner that is going to help us ease into that insulin drop during the night so that you can get into fat burning a lot sooner, because most of the fat that you burn burns while you're asleep, not while you are running on the treadmill. And I want to be clear about carbs because I think this can be a bit confusing. I'm not anti-carb. Every one of these meals has a form of carb in it. It is about managing them, not cutting them. So food 1 is a beef burger bowl. I love this one. This is beef mince. We've got cheese, sour cream or like avocado, pickles, burger sauce, salad mix and tomato, and a side of sweet potato, or I put it like on a little bed of sweet potato and salad. So I just call this like a fake away burger. It scratches the same itch, as a drive-through Macca's burger, and I'm not sort of sitting feeling like I've missed out because I'm not having my like weekly burger. This works really well because the mince is, that's the Parma protein. We've got the cheese and the sour cream an avocado, which are your fats, which is your thumb. We have got the salad and tomato, that's your fiber. We've got sweet potatoes, also got fiber, and that's the carb source. And that is like, it's underneath everything. What is going to make this really easy and repeatable is like mince is the easiest thing in the world to batch cook. I just cook it in a big pan once, and then you've got 3 to 4 dinners after that point. And swapping the bun for the bowl, you have one, taken out the biggest insulin driver of your meal, but also if you are sensitive to gluten, like let's say that you're maybe celiac, gluten intolerant, or you've got endometriosis or PCOS, you can be sensitive to gluten. You're swapping that for potato, which does not have gluten in it. And sweet potato is going to be a great choice for that as well, because sweet potato is not a nightshade, whereas white potato is a nightshade. And if you have endometriosis, you can often flare up when you eat white potato. So sweet potato is a good swap. It's pretty safe food. This is the meal that I recommend for people who say that they can't really do a certain diet because their family is not going to eat diet food. Everyone loves this meal. No one notices that they're on a diet. Meal number 2 is a breakfast wrap. So you can either go with a normal wholemeal wrap or a low carb, high fiber one. It's going to depend whether you're going low carb or if you're building or you're on a cut. I alternate between these depending on if I'm cutting or I'm in maintenance. I will put pork sausage on this, scrambled egg, barbecue sauce, and a side of fruit. This is my first meal of the day most days, and I will just eat this like until I properly get the ick. This is going to matter as well is that, if breakfast is typically toast and cereal and some juice, you're usually hungry by about 10 o'clock and you're chasing that blood sugar roller coaster for the rest of the day. But if breakfast is really heavy on the protein and fat, then your whole day feels a little bit quieter, like with the food noise in your head. And I also roughly know what this hits for protein without needing to weigh anything because I don't like weighing or counting my calories. You're going to eat this, enough times and you stop really needing to think about how much is in it and how much volume is there. And, if you are in a cut and you are wanting to go a bit lower carb, there are a lot of good like low carb, high fiber wraps on the market. It's also helping you get a bit more fiber in as well. And that's going to help you, keep your insulin a bit lower in the morning and, allowing more room to have more fruit in a cut. But when I'm in maintenance, I will want the extra carbs because I've usually just finished a workout. So I'm going to want a full carb wrap to fuel my muscle growth along with the proteins and the fats. So notice how this is more of a lever that I'm using depending on if I'm cutting or if I'm fasting. And the fruit is going to go on the side. Usually that's something like berries because they are packed with antioxidants and fiber, and the protein and the fat alongside that is just going to make this a really nice, well-balanced, nutrient-dense meal, but also very tasty. Quick one before we get to the next one. Food really is a lever and it's a big one. And because insulin is one of the 9 hormones that are deciding whether your body holds on to fat or lets it go. And I just want to let you know that I've got a free masterclass that walks through all 9 of those hormones that control fat loss and why the eat less, move more advice keeps failing women specifically when fat loss is more of a hormonal problem rather than a volume problem for a lot of women. The link's in the description. It's free. Just go watch it after this. Back to the food. So next one, food number 3 is a salmon bowl. Salmon, shirataki noodles, seaweed, Kewpie mayo, and stir-fry vegetable cooked in sesame oil. This is basically my default I forgot to plan meal. I keep frozen salmon in the freezer, I defrost it. Everything else is pretty much out of a packet or from a jar, and it's on the table in about 15 minutes as well, because if I'm doing shirataki noodles, they don't need to be cooked either. The shirataki noodles, these are pretty wild. They're just fiber, so you don't absorb them. They're about 5 calories for a whole serving of them. And you can eat these in as much volume if you want to, although they are fiber. So make sure that if you want your stools to be a bit thicker, you'll want to eat more of these. If you're a volume eater, these are great. And they don't taste weird. So there's actually a place that does sort of these little noodle bowls near me when I go work in the city. And I have been wondering for ages what type of noodle that they add, because they add like a few different types of noodles and rice and different things. And there's a specific type of noodle that I've been tasting and I'm like, man, what is this? This is delicious. I think I figured it out, that it's just shirataki noodles, and I'm very happy that I get to eat them at home now. You get the noodle experience, but like I said, they are 0 carbs or calories, just pure fiber. So the fat and the protein in that meal get to really do their job, but you're going to keep your insulin lower during the night. So if lowering your insulin and being lower carb is part of the diet approach that you are wanting to take, this is a great meal for that. And it's going to allow you to tap into that fat storage while you sleep. If you are on maintenance or you're in a bulk, swap the shirataki noodles for rice or like rice noodles. But yeah, in a cut, the shirataki is going to be perfect, and I love the way that they taste. Salmon is also on double duty here. We've got protein and omega-3s. Most women I worked with are eating far more omega-6s than omega-3s, which is coming from like ultra-processed foods and seed oils. So you're going to want to level out your omega-6 to omega-3 balance. We've also got kewpie mayo and so sesame oils that are like in there as fats. And that's what makes it just taste chef's kiss, plus a bit of sriracha on top. So good. And some seaweed. I love seaweed. That's a bit of texture that's added in there as well. Food 4. This might be boring, but I've added a little bit of twist. This is steak, broccoli, and asparagus cooked in, wait for it, duck fat. So the thing with steak is that it does sound boring, but once you know how to cook things properly, oh, it is divine. So steak, broccoli, and asparagus roasted in duck fat, that is it. This is the formula that when you want to strip everything back, you got your palm of protein, your thumb of fat with the duck fat, you got a bunch of fiber from the vegetables, almost no carbs. So if you are going low carb, this is fantastic closer to bed. And you can also do some roast potato in the duck fat as well if you're maintaining or if you're on a build. I would definitely be doing that. The duck fat is the whole reason why the vegetables are worth eating, in my opinion. I hate steamed broccoli because it's like water that like tastes weird. It was a bit of a punishment, to be honest. But broccoli, oh my god, roasted in duck fat, so good. It's the type of thing you'd want to pay for at a restaurant. So on the fat thing, because I know that, someone might be commenting about, adding fats to your food, but I just want to make it very clear, fat does not make you fat. It's very hard for your body to turn eaten fat into body fat. It just happens to be that we just nicknamed them the same thing, but they're not the same thing. Insulin is what drives fat storage, and fat has almost no impact on insulin. So unless you eat absolute copious amounts paired with carbs, which is going to raise your insulin, it's not really going to make a huge difference. This is also one that's going to help you retrain your palate for real food. If you eat this for a week, your gut microbiome is going to start craving what's good for it, because fun fact, your gut can control cravings for things that it needs to be healthy once it's in balance. If it's not in balance, it's going to be craving sugar. And that's a really annoying thing for it to do. This one needs zero planning as well. Takes like maybe 15-20 minutes. Steak in a pan, vegetable in the oven, you're pretty much done. Food 5, this is a dessert. I love this one. This is a berry cheesecake. We have got frozen blueberries, cream cheese, dollop cream, vanilla essence, allulose, which is a natural sweetener. We're going to blend it, and that's the recipe. This one exists because if there is ice cream in my house, I will eat it. I'll eat all of it, and I don't have a mechanism in my brain that says, that's enough now, I'll put the rest of it away. So I stopped fighting that, and I just don't buy ice cream anymore. The ice cream, doesn't come in the house. I eat it when I'm out. If I go get dinner out, I'll go get an ice cream afterwards. But this is what I make instead. It does the job. It's cold, it's creamy, it's sweet. It hits that 8 p.m. sort of craving when that habit shows up. Typically, I don't often do dessert, but if I do dessert, this is it. And allulose is what makes it work even harder. So allulose tastes like sugar, but it behaves like sugar in the mouth, but it doesn't do what sugar does to your blood sugar. Allulose is a natural fig sweetener that helps you control blood sugar. So it might actually be the perfect thing for you to eat prior to bed to actually level out your blood sugar before you go to sleep. And the big point here is we're just going to work with your brain instead of against it. We're going to remove something that maybe, if you're like me, you can't moderate, and swapping it for something that hits the spot but is far healthier. And back to the thing I mentioned at the start, about getting an ick. I will eat one of these for days and then I'll get completely sick of it. Right now I'm a little bit sick of the cheesecake, so I'm like trialing some different Ninja Creamy recipes that I might share. But then I'm going to just rotate it for another one for a few weeks, and that's fine. I have a whole bunch of recipes up my sleeve to rotate, and they're all in my metabolic method as well. I just sort of default back to those when I need something different. And decision fatigue is also what sort of breaks a lot of people rather than hunger. By 6 p.m., you have made about 1,000 decisions, and dinner is the last thing that your brain wants to make a healthy decision about. So, we're just going to take the decision away. And once you've got that formula, the protein, the fat, the fiber, the carbs, you can build your own, like roast chicken with vegetables, lamb chop with salad, Greek salad with, feta and chicken. It's the same structure where you're basing out, your palm of protein and all that, but it's different food that you're swapping in and out. So that is it. That is 5 recipes. They're in the description if you want them. I've also got a free masterclass down there on the 9 hormones that control fat loss or fat storage. And the meals themselves are only really half the battle. We've also got things like meal timing that matters, which is why I did another video that you will probably really like on the 36-hour fasting length and how it can help you burn through that stubborn body fat in just one single day. So I will see you over there.